Hello everybody and welcome aboard the Vista Star here today. My name is Bill. I'm your tour guide. You'll be hearing my voice over the microphone, or if you're on the third deck, you'll also be able to see me up here right now as well. And as we get off the dock here, I do have a couple of very brief safety announcements to give, as safety is always our #1 priority while here aboard the Vista Star. For starters, I know this might be a bit of a shocker for some of us here today right now. We're on a boat. This does mean we may encounter the occasional wave here and there through our sailing, so please make sure that you're walking across our vessel, that there is no running at any point in time. And we also ask that you please make sure that you watch your step going into and out of the doorways on the first and the second decks. This is because the doorways on the first and the second decks do have raised sills to help keep out water. They do a great job with this, but they also do a great job at catching your feet. Trust me, I have learned that the hard way. So please watch your step going into and out of those doorways. The windows on our second deck cannot be opened at any point in time. This is because they swing inwards and they are extremely heavy, which means if you get hit by them, they hurt a lot. Trust me, I have also learned that the hard way. So please do not open the windows on the second deck at all. If you would like to catch a breeze, you can do so down on the first deck, where you can open windows down there. You can go to both the bow and the stern of the first and the second decks. Or if there's capacity, you can also head on up to our third deck as well. Speaking of our third deck, we do have a maximum capacity up here of 44 people. This is regulated to us by the United States Coast Guard for our stability. As last I checked, we're all here for a boat ride. We're not here for swimming lessons. So please stay mindful of that 44 person capacity as we go through our sailing. If you see the chains up like they are right now, that does mean our top deck is full, and that you might want to check back a little later on in the voyage. And it also means if you're starting off the tour here on the top deck, we ask that you please entertain the idea of going down to a lower deck a little later on in the sailing, just that way other people can get a chance to be up here as well. You might also notice our white life jacket boxes located on the bow of the first and the second decks, as well as all along the top of the third deck. These make for amazing seats. I know they're really comfy. We just ask that you please do not stand or kneel on them at any point in time, as these life jacket boxes are not bolted to the deck. So they do tend to shift a little bit when you're sitting on them, and we don't want to see anybody fall. So please do not stand or kneel in the life jacket boxes. This does go for both adults and children. There's no smoking aboard the Vista Star anytime. This does include both vapes and e-cigarettes. If you have to use the restroom on board, they are located on the stern of our boat or the back end of our vessel by the staircases. There's one of them on the first deck and one of them on the second deck as well, both of them being on the starboard side or the right side of our boat when you're looking towards the front. If you have any trash on board to dispose of, please make sure that you're throwing it away in the proper trash cans located across our vessel. They are the tall silver garbage cans on the first and the second deck, as well as the black garbage can on the third deck as well. We really don't like it when people pollute our beautiful Lake Superior, and it's also against U.S. and international law as well. So please do not throw your trash overboard, and please use the proper trash cans on our vessel. If you're feeling a little bit hungry or a little bit thirsty, you can feel free to head on down to our first deck bar. We've got some amazing food and drink options down there, and I know our bartenders are extremely good company as well. So feel free to head on down there at any point during our sailing. And then finally, last but certainly not least, if you have any questions about just about anything you see, either on shore, in the harbor, or just about anything else, feel free to flag me down here at any point during the sailing. You'll find me floating around here with a nice blue baseball hat with a boat on it. Feel free to ask me literally any questions you might have. I'd love to answer them for you. With that, that concludes all my safety announcements. So, what do you say? Should we go for a boat ride? I'm going to take that as a yes. So let's get underway then, shall we? But the first thing I want to talk about being, well, funny enough, right in front of us. This right here is our world famous Duluth Aerial Lift Bridge. Our Duluth Aerial Lift Bridge was constructed all the way back in 1905 when it was originally built to be a gondola ferry bridge. That meant it did not go up and down, it instead went side to side as it shuttled people to and from Park Point, going back and forth at all hours of the day, every single day, all the way until 1929, when they eventually decided the bridge could no longer meet the traffic demands, and so they later rebuilt the bridge to increase its height by over 43 additional feet, and they also added the fixed center span, weighing in at 1,000 tons, and they can lift that central span to a maximum ship's clearance of 138 feet, and it can reach that height in just 3 minutes. It's all controlled by our bridge operator there, as we've got a bridge tender in the very center of the bridge who is on call 24 hours a day for the entirety of our shipping season from mid-March all the way until mid-January. I asked him once if he enjoyed his job or not, and he simply responded back saying that, well, it has ups and downs. As we go underneath the bridge here as well, you'll also be able to see all the people lined up on shore watching us go through the canal. Feel free to give them a nice big wave as we go by. After all, they love it when we do this sort of thing for them. We wave at them, they wave at us, and we get to notice a jealous little glance in their eye because we get to go on an awesome, fantastic boat ride, and they don't.
ဒီဒါဆိုရင်လွန်ခဲ့တဲ့1900ခုနှစ်ကတိစောက်ထားတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်။အရင်ကတော့ဒီလောက်မကောင်းဘူးလို့ပြောပါတယ်။ဒီနောက်ပိုင်းမှာတော့သူတို့ပြန်ပြီးတော့ update လုပ်ထားပြီးတော့အခုဆိုလို့ရှိရင်သူတို့က3မိနစ်အတွင်းမှာအထင်အချလုပ်လို့ရတယ်။ဒီမှာပို့ပြီးတော့မြန်ဆန်တယ်တိကျတယ်ပေါ့နော်။လေးချင်ကတော့တန်ပေါင်း1000ရှိတယ်
As we go underneath the bridge here, you can see our bridge operators come out to give us a nice big wave. Let's all give him a nice big wave back. After all, he loves it when we do that sort of thing for him as well. We'll have to thank him later with Captain Salute, so I'll give you a bit of a warning when we go through the canal a second time before that. For that Captain Salute, we'll do a little later on in the sailing day. But as we go on through our Duluth ship canal, I think it's only fitting that we talk about the ship canal itself, as it is quite the story behind it, dating all the way back to 1871. As prior to 1871, the city of Duluth had a problem. You see, the city of Superior on the other side of the harbor held the only natural entrance to the harbor, meaning all the boats had to go into the Wisconsin side of the harbor. They would load or unload on the Wisconsin side of the harbor, and then they would leave from the Wisconsin side of the harbor. This, of course, meant that the city of Superior was making boatloads of money. But Duluth, meanwhile, was left high and dry. So in 1871, the city of Duluth decided they were going to change that. And so they began to dig this canal. Well, Superior found out. They realized just how much money they stood to lose. And so, being the good neighbors that they were, they decided to walk over to the city of Duluth to say, hey, can you please just stop that? It really hurt our feelings. And we lost a ton of money, so can you please just quit it? I'm kidding, they didn't do that. They instead filed an injunction with the United States War Department in order to get the canal's construction stopped by force. Well, the War Department looked at the proposal, they looked back at the officials and said, sure, we'll grant the injunction, but there's a catch. You have to wait for it to take effect when it gets handed and delivered first. So with that, an Army officer departed from Washington, D.C. on that Friday. He hopped in a train, he started making his way west.